All right, motherfuckers, I'm fired up. This is going to be one of those podcasts that's like probably short and sweet, but very actionable, and it's going to make you some money, some dollar, some skrilla, some fucking cheddar. Hit it, Kelan! Firstly, my phone is on the table to those watching, along with my Huel and my coffee.
Oh, you do have coffee. You fucking
yeah,
I didn't have time to make coffee for this. Always have a coffee for this. For a bit of context, I was just cutting selects and stuff, and then Giles was riffing to me, and then mid voice message, he was like, "Oh shit, I should probably save this for a podcast." And he wasn't here. And
I was walking the dog.
He was walking the dog, and then he just stopped and basically drove here, and he's come through the door straight into a podcast.
Sarah is literally like, my baby is not here yet, but it could just happen. Like we're now 6 days overdue, and it's just like, I basically probably shouldn't be here, but until she's quite evidently in.
Yeah, you weren't going to.
I'm taking a risk.
Yeah, you weren't really going to come in today,
No,
and then suddenly you're like, I'll quickly get a podcast.
Basically, I had this thought, right? And I'm just, I'm going to have to just riff a bit. So when I've always considered myself to be like, I've said to people, I just got lucky at the right time to like build my name, because I'm not a fucking athlete. I never was. I mean, back in the early days, like people thought I was half decent, and I did a few commercial jobs, but I've never been an athlete to like today's standard ever.
Yeah, but that's today's standard.
But
for back then.
But I managed to sustain a presence and a career within the community through the video path, and now obviously I've gone on to start Motors. But the way I built my career with regards to video was I just went to London every fucking weekend, and I just filmed the good people. I just knew the right people, Tim, Kai, et cetera, all these people who were super approachable, still are, everyone's approachable in the community for the most part. And I went and I filmed content that provided value for them to put on YouTube or whatever, and built relationships with them, and eventually sort of was able to monetize that through starting a video production company and doing commercial work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I was just thinking the other day, where are the parkour photos? There are not enough parkour photographers. I think there's more in America.
Yeah.
But in any other sport,
I think there's quite a lot of photographers that do parkour, but not a lot of parkour.
But that's fine. They can do that. But what I mean,
that's fine. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not. I need parkour photos. We want to see more of that.
So here's the catalyst for this thought, right? And apologies to Dom for the little stream of people that might now follow him around after I say this. But everyone knows now that whenever Dom comes to England, which seems to be a fairly regular occurrence, big shit goes down. Like you could break both of his arms and he'll still do big stuff because he just won't use his arms. You'd literally have to cut off his legs to stop him, and he'd probably still do something that's impressive. Like that is how certain it is. He did that Grand Prix yesterday in London, and we'll go on to that. But everyone now knows the Kong front is going to happen. Like he has literally said it. He's like, I am coming back for this. So everyone knows.
He will do it.
Why don't go and be, if you're there, don't be the fucking 17th person getting an Instagram clip to be like, oh, Dom, here's my angle. Go and take a fucking sick photo of it.
Take a sick photo, document it, or do something that...
There's so much history that can be captured through photo, but also through video. I know Max Ward did just do a documentary on Dom, and that is a very good example of what more people should be doing, is they should be looking at... Because I used to say I was lucky, and I used to think the opportunity had kind of passed to do this because of like... It's going to be harder for a newcomer or a smaller person in the sport, so a lesser known, I should say, to, let's say, go and make a project about Stora, because they kind of do that themselves, and it's harder to approach that like solid gang. That being said,
there's a lot
you could
of
go and do that
athletes.
for fat.
Yeah.
You could, if you went and you started providing value for fat, they're not going to be like, mate, fuck off. If you start providing value for them, which in turn gives you value, you can go and do that. But so what I'm saying is like, you basically, if I wanted to take more photos and I thought I was half decent and I had the right gear, etc., and it doesn't have to be pro gear, but like just something half decent, I would follow Dom around like a fucking plague whenever he's in England, and I would document this shit. I would take photos, right? I would strike up a deal with him. I would be like, look at these sick photos. They'd have to be half decent. I would strike up a deal with him, and I'd be like, let's sell these as prints and split a revenue share. And you can fucking like, I don't like drop shipping, but you can drop ship posters from sites like Printful. You could set up a fucking Shopify store for like 29 quid a month. You get a free trial on that. You go to Printful, you set up a drop shipping account, and you can drop ship high quality posters, and you can split the revenue between you and the athlete to sell prints. Like, this office behind the fucking camera for the Patreons, you've seen it, it's on the Patreon, is covered in posters, photos. Like, I've spent hundreds in the last year buying creatives things. I would, like, if I wasn't doing motos right now, if I wanted to be a photographer, that is what I would fucking do. And
you're setting someone up for a job.
But there's nothing stopping someone doing it.
I know, yeah.
Like, and it doesn't have to be Dom. You could do it with, technically you could do it with fucking Stora. You could do it with anyone.
No one, well, you said earlier, no one actually really documents themselves that much anymore, or at least you just see parkour clips. A lot of the best athletes, it's just parkour clips of them on Instagram.
Yeah.
So if anything, it might even be the best time to be doing stuff like this because no one's doing it.
Exactly.
Back in the day, everyone had, like you said, a Canon on them or something, and they were documenting them or their friends a lot more. There was so many people who are more into filmmaking, all of this. A lot of people have just kind of moved away from that. They're not really interested in the filmmaking. They're just interested in the parkour, which is why they can just post Instagram clips, because they can just focus on themselves.
Like, you could find the equivalent. Max has obviously just done the documentary about Dom looking into like his process, but you could find the equivalent athlete in Australia or America or whatever.
There's loads of really good athletes.
Somebody
even people who aren't known. There could be some people who aren't known, who aren't even documenting themselves on Instagram, and you could just be like, look, I'm going to fucking.
And obviously, you're not necessarily going to be able to monetize. Like, there's two things I'm talking about here. There's like, somebody could go and immediately do the photography thing and probably start monetizing prints and canvases, and maybe not some canvases. Look,
if you want to do that in the right, you can't just do it by yourself. If it's
no.
not of you, then.
But do you know what I mean? If you found, you could go to FAT, right, as a decent photographer, and you could say, look, I'm going to just follow you for the next month. And I not even just say it, you just go and you just follow. Like, you just take shots and you start going, hey guys, look at this photo. Because yes, photos don't get the same like fucking click photo, like the reciprocation they do on Instagram as videos and stuff. But people fucking love a good photo.
Yeah,
everyone loves a good photo. You could do that, and then you could start, like, I would buy prints straight up because I do. And there are other people who do. Like, we've sold posters, we've sold prints.
Yeah.
Sick monumental things that happen that progress the sport are so, like, you think about skate magazines and BMX and blah, 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 blah. There are photographers who are just known as being that guy who is there whenever the big shit goes down.
Yeah, yeah.
And those people get hired whenever someone, like, the front page of a Thrasher, like, Thrasher will have a selection of photographers that they will like almost rely on if they know a big moment's going to go down like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's obviously we don't have as many, we have Move Mag and things, but like,
well, it's like Dom's Kong front.
There's no, like, we have a fucking 15-foot print of Max doing the concrete.
And it's so epic to see that, because knowing
on our
that Max, knowing that Max was the second one ever to do it,
and he was 15. I walk down there every day.
50, and you can see it.
It's straight up inspiration. I'm like, that's fucking sick.
I know, 15 years old, second in the world. You know,
and there's no equivalent photo of Dom doing the Kong front there that I've seen.
Which there should be, because it's fucking stupid. Like, no one else is going to Kong front pre that.
Yeah, or at least for a long time.
Well,
so there's so many like potential avenues for just building a creative profile for yourself if you are prepared to put in the work, which really fucking just following around parkour athletes, which most of you do already because you train, it should just go hand in hand. But then also there's this other element where like you could build up a portfolio that you could then monetize. And I mean, it's not going to pull in fucking millions and millions and millions, but like you could just start building up a portfolio of stuff that you want to sell, because kids want posters on their bedroom. Like they really, really fucking do. Like imagine Dom a week after doing the Kong front is like, oh, this guy took a photo of my Kong front and we're going to sell it and we'll split the money and it's 15 quid. Dude, how many fucking kids would be like, I want that on my wall?
Not just kids, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So 100%. There's your fucking opportunity, people, right? And yeah, the same is for video. Is like, if you can go and provide value and document, and you're not going to be able to monetize this per se immediately, but you can still provide value, and also you can build up your own portfolio and skill set by documenting people battling these processes. Because actually filming something that has a bit of a narrative and takes place over a much short, like going out filming a big action piece that's super high quality is time consuming, hard to do, relies on a lot. Whereas if you can find like someone in your city who's just like, oh, I'm going to break down this challenge. Like I'm going to do this challenge and it's going to be fucking hard. You go out and you capture your kind of behind the jump-esque thing. that gives you great training with regards to like how to construct narrative pieces, how to pull emotion from a piece, how to like, there's so much you can learn from editing a piece like that. And to be honest, we need more of it in the sport because it's incredibly important that as much as always on Instagram, people will just see the Sendy shit. It's incredibly important to show the behind the scenes for the people who want to see it. And it's so fucking rewarding to do. And it provides the athlete with so much value as well, because you provide, like, you go out there, you film that, you edit it, and then the athlete has this thing where like their process is documented. Like, and it's sick to see.
Yeah.
Oh, 10 minutes charged up. You're right. Patrons, thank you for supporting us as always. We got some good plans for content for you actually. As I've said a couple of times, baby is going to disrupt things for 5 minutes, but
how many coffees have you had? Just one?
Just one, but my brain's just like, I ran in and wrote loads of shit down on the whiteboard for a different project.
I mean, you have been, they can't see that. Good. I thought the patrons could see the board. I mean, you have been in your house for...
Oh, that's why. Look, today. I got a green ring on my sleep. That is a rarity. 7 hours, 15 minutes.
Oh, is that good?
I never, normally, like, the 4 hours, 41, I think that was the night before, maybe. I don't know what my average is, but it's...
Oh, shit. There you go. That's what you need.
But I don't actually seem to need that much sleep. And people will be like,
oh, well, it's a Joe Rogan podcast where the guy says if you don't get so much sleep, your testosterone will die.
It's like, fucking, I made a baby. That's testosterone enough, surely. I don't know. Yeah. What were you going to say?
No, that was it. You fucking 11 minutes in, but you were holding this in like a shit, so...
Pretty much.
He drove here fast, ran in.
I was gonna go home and go on the fucking bike for half an hour, and then I was gonna have a shower and shave, and I was like, I'm coming to the office. Let's do this.
While I'm here, just cutting through
just
selects and shit.
Weeks and weeks of selects. The other thing that I was gonna say, and I need to write this down as I do it, is I'm killing the podcast discount code, and we're refreshing it as of this episode, right? Because I listened to a podcast yesterday about discount code hygiene with regards to basically companies like Honey. You know Honey?
I do know Honey.
And they have all the Chrome plugins and things. They're fucking cancer.
Yeah.
Because...
What, because they just find any code for anything?
Yeah, so let's say I gave you like a...
That's how everyone's been finding our code.
Well, the podcast code has been used so like hundreds and hundreds of times. I mean, literally tens of thousands of pounds has gone through the podcast code, which is great. Obviously, that's revenue. But it's like, how many of those people actually listen to the podcast? And I know it's on Honey. Yeah. Because what happens if somebody has the Chrome extension for a discount code and they go on and use it, the Chrome extension...
Does it save it and then put it somewhere?
Even if you don't plug it in, you don't manually plug it in.
Yeah, I figured that.
They use like cookies and they rip it. So if I gave you like a 90% off one so your brother could buy something, it could rip that. So I've seen...
Oh, that's how they do it.
Yeah, I was having a look.
Dude, that's scummy. That's
it's super scummy and it can cause big issues. So I'm refreshing the podcast discount code, still 10% off. Feel free to go and use it.
Surely companies now must be like doing a big discount code and then stripping it straight away.
Well, you can. I mean, I through other methods that I use, I can do discount codes that automatically expire within 24 hours and ones that auto generate. So they're like, so for like emails and things. But for this, because it's like people listening to a podcast, we can't change this. Like there's going to be people for months now trying Podcast 10 or whatever it was, who won't be able to use it. And sorry, but we're changing it as of now. And hopefully everyone's listening to this episode because this episode is making you that. Look, we've just made you a shitload of cash. You can come and buy some clothes and get 10% off using the code PRODME.
Is that actually what it's... Did you make that up now? Or?
I thought about it in the car. It was going to be... It was going to be Prod 10, but it's...
No, PRODME is brilliant.
PRODME. It's PRODME. PRODME will get you 10% off. From this point onwards, prod me.
I had some people replying to my story saying that we should check the mobile, but it's been dead for years, so... Only the Patreons will be able to see where that was.
Buried under
cables. No one's
cables.
touched that for years.
Thing is, every time we turn it on, we just get sent horrible messages or people try and call it.
We'll check it next time, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
This podcast was very spur on the moment.
We did say last week, we were like, look, we're back on podcasts and we will be. So here you go. Might not have been exactly a week after the last one, but...
Pretty fucking good, eh?
Considering Giles is,
squeezing out a child.
He's squeezing out a child and I'm doing stuff mental. Here. So
It's my mind is getting blown every second.
Yeah. Get ready for Motus to just fucking crash. No, I'm joking.
I was thinking, I know Noah, North Street Boogie, we talked about this, I think on the last one, put up that big story about those things. And in one of them, he said like, filmmakers should get paid for video part, or like should get paid more. And although I technically completely agree with the sentiment, it is ultimately very hard to do for like, just generally for companies and small brands within the community. So I think hopefully that idea,
I'd love,
I think really that, like,
but yeah,
but the filmmaker, there's a lot of filmmakers who maybe might go and make like, just make a tiny video of someone and be like, oh, I should get some money of that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, I'm just kind of.
No, I think that there's not really, when I actually think hard, I can't think of anyone who's actually like a parkour filmmaker who consistently, you watch something from, it doesn't matter what brand, but you're like, oh, I know so-and-so filmed that because he makes parkour films.
Yeah. This might come across as like harsh, but there are not enough parkour filmmakers who have put in the work to.
Filming parkour is very different to just filming stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of filmmakers who, like I said, there's a lot of parkour athletes that take photos, not necessarily parkour. There's still some parkour.
To be worth monetary, like an exchange of value, you have to consistently consistently provide value to a good level. And I think as much as there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm half decent, or like, oh, I've done a few bits of work. It does, unfortunately, especially in a very like young sport like this, where there is not a lot of money, take a long time to really build up that kind of consistency.
Yeah.
And I think the sort of photography idea that I just had with regards to like sharing the revenue of prints, obviously you could oversaturate the shit out of that. And like, no one's going to want to buy a random photo of like Tommy from down the street jumping over a wall, because there's no sort of context or value there. That 100% can be oversaturated, but I think if done right, it's a faster route to being able to provide one, value and build relationships with athletes, but also a form of monetary value for both parties quicker than like, because I don't know, if you went out and made a behind the jump style video with Dom, unless you were lucky and managed to sell that to something like Red Bull or whatever, you're going to struggle to earn off of that. Whereas if you went out and captured an incredible shot of him doing the Kong front and you both agreed to split the revenue, fuck me, Dom's going to just how
many people are going to follow now?
There's just going to be people being like, oh, I got this idea. Do you want to split the revenue and take photos? But Dom's just the example I'm using. Like you could do this. I think that is a quicker way to do it. And I think
you need to know how, such an important thing of everything, just know how good you are. Like
but also don't put yourself down, because
don't put yourself down. But you realistically, if you're doing stuff like this, you need to know like, okay, like I am technically a photographer.
The fine balance between
how many photos have I taken? Because you don't want to pester, let's say, Dom into doing something.
No, like this, but that being said, though, technically with like something like the Kong front, the craziest fucking story about Max's one.
Oh yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
I don't know. So I don't know if the podcast people know this, right? But so when Kai did the Kong Pri at IMAX, the first person ever. There was the guy who took the photo was like, I think he was like friends of somebody who did parkour and didn't really train, but was there that day and snapped the photo. And it's a very famous photo. When Max and then 5 years later, Max does the Kong Pri.
Yeah, what the fuck? This
is insane. Weird. It's so fucking insane. 5 years later, Max does the Kong Pri. The same fucking guy was walking. None of us were thinking about photos. We were only thinking about videos. Yeah. The same guy was walking through IMAX and saw Max prepping. And in his head, he must be like, oh, this is a common occurrence. People always do this Kong Pri. He went down and lay in exactly the same fucking place on the steps. I don't even remember seeing him down there. Like, I do not remember fucking seeing him.
I didn't remember him being there.
The same fucking guy just went and snapped this photo and then came up to us afterwards and was like, oh, I got this. Like, do you want me to email it to you? And I was like, what the fuck? That's the same photo as Kai. And he was like, yeah, I was the same guy. Like, I was just walking through and I took this. And he was like, what the fuck? So obviously you need to know how much value you provide with regards to how good you are. You shouldn't just go and be like, oh, I've got an iPhone, Dom, do you want to split the revenue, blah, 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 blah. But like, that is a much faster route to, I've said the word like providing value so many times. That's faster than making videos is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And I think it's hugely under done at the moment in parkour, and we need more photo media, because also paying a tenner for a print or 15 quid for a print, which in turn provides revenue for both the photographer and the athlete, is such an amazing way to support athletes rather than fucking just following them on Instagram or like, I don't know, like you buy a t-shirt from Farang. I don't know how much of that even goes to Dom. Maybe I don't know how what that is. It's very, very hard to support athletes through just the sales of clothing, because there's profit margins like that come in, and COGS, which is cost of goods sold, which comes into clothing. For something like a print, which is more easily replicable, especially if you were to drop ship it, as long as your margins are good, you could, sorry, ranting.
No, I completely zoned out because I was more thinking about when we did Soul Destroy, we did have people, we had Travis and Jordan both shot photos of nearly everything that happened, which was fucking sick. It's so useful. It's so useful for while we were shooting things.
And that's why we, not Travis and Jordan, Luke and Jordan, because Travis joined afterwards. Oh, but that's why we were able to do
Jordan,
that's why we were able to do posters and things. Like we have I can see it right there, the Berlingo poster of Joel.
Yeah,
which is sick.
It's so nice. And also because I love Berlingo as a film, and we've got the poster. It's such a good reminder of that exists.
What was I going to say? Other rant. Jimmy the Giant. Sorry, that's coffee and Huel. Oof.
Someone should make a coffee flavoured Huel.
It exists, I think.
Is it? Okay.
I think so. Your next video or a video needs to be on how fucking monumentally impactful Kai Willis was. Right? And I'm right in thinking that he's never done this before.
Yeah, no, he hasn't.
I feel like he might have.
I can't really remember. He's probably touched on like Kai and stuff in the past.
But there should be an entire video that is just
spoken to him about it.
Because Dom, obviously we've talked about Max's Kong Prix. He did that 5 years after Kai. Kai did that in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Dom did that Kong Prix yesterday that Abdullah tried. And to be honest,
both of his arms.
Abdullah could, I mean, there's a lot of people who could do it, but Abdullah 100% could have done it, but basically had the worst fucking bail you could ever have.
Yeah.
Broke both his arms.
But also there was that fucking
clown.
That pissed me off so much.
Oh, I hate it.
Because I know Abdullah is not a sketchy, sendy person. So like he would have done it, and he would have done it.
And that clown is literally the worst example of how to fucking act, at all.
But basically, what you were saying.
But Kai did that Kong Prix 10 years ago, pretty much. 10 years ago. There's still stuff in Kai's 2012 video.
What, the Kong Prix that
Dom did?
Really? Did he?
It's in that video.
Fuck. For some reason didn't. I'm going to have to watch that.
There's
what about the Kong to the rail? Has people done that to Plyo Out yet? You know, the one that's like a similar size and it's on the same walk. People
have done that one. I mean, Andy, I filmed.
Did anyone do the Plyo Out? Has anyone done that?
No. Yes, Callum.
Yeah.
It's in a 100-meter backflip or whatever that video is called. Yeah. Story video.
That's so mad that stuff like that's already happened.
That's gross, but nowhere near as like.
The Kong Prix that Dom has done is
just fucking. Yeah. It's like jumping between two fucking buildings in terms of size, and he wants to confront it. But yeah, so Kai did that like 10 years ago. There's still stuff in Kai's 2012 video that hasn't been done. The dive at Hayward is one of them, and it's utterly fucking gross.
Someone needs to do that.
I mean, Luke wanted to do it for Soul Destroyer. Like he talked about it a bit, but we never really went and like prepped it. But it was kind of in his head.
I reckon he would have done it if he took the time to.
Yeah, it's just you get kicked so quickly. But like Kai, if you think about 10 years it's taken, I mean, let's say 9 because Abdullah tried it, last year or year before maybe, 8. How fucking ahead of the game was Kai?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And there's other stuff in that video that you can't even go and do now because Elephant and Castle got torn down and things like this. But like, and he got obviously a huge amount of credit for it. It's not like he was overlooked and underrated or anything like this. But if you compare like how much hype that would get in an Instagram world compared to just like, oh, here's a YouTube video I've been saving up for a few months, fucking insane. And now he's just out in Dubai, just murdering it, flying like 60-gram reds on racing drones.
He's like Tim Sheaf in the fact that he just, once he gets into a new thing, he just becomes as good.
He's a massive nerd, yeah. He's got
obsessive.
Like his flat used to have like 300 Rubik's cubes in it.
Really?
He'd like do like the normal one, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna get that Rubik's cube.
Really?
I'm gonna get that and then that."
That type of person. Yeah. No, I think Kai wasn't overlooked, but the further we get on with life,
wasn't overlooked,
the more people are going to start getting into parkour who have no idea who Kai is, and at one point in time, you know,
he'll be forgotten.
Yeah, he would like.
I mean,
until his name pops up.
It's like Marks was saying the other day. He was talking to people in London who just couldn't comprehend how good Danny was.
Yeah.
And probably still is because Danny's magic. But like...
Yeah, no, exactly that.
There are things that happen in the sport that people get gassed over, and then there's like things that people get gassed over, and technically they're like, although they are impressive because they're such a minority thing to happen, they're...
Well, I didn't know fully that Kai did the Kong Pre that Dom did. So me seeing Dom do that, I'm like, oh, someone's done it now. But then Kai has done it. So there is that kind of, you think the sport's being progressed. And it kind of is, but it isn't. At the same time.
Like that video that Kai did, if you think about it, he pushed stuff to an incomprehensible level that it took so long for people to catch up.
Yeah, and him and Callum doing the plyos at St Thomas Hospital. Even now when I see someone do it, I'm like, sick.
Yeah.
But that was so long ago.
It's crazy how you get these weird spikes. And to be honest, things like Dom's progression of the Kong front, and also like because we've already seen the progression of like side prees and front prees, I guess. Although front prees have never been a super tight landing, but it's side prees. We've seen the progression of that, but now people like Dom are pushing that to like, it's Dom's mentality. If I can jump it, I can flip it. Which it used to be like, oh, I could do a 20 foot. Like, I mean, Kai's biggest fucking running jump, I think, was like 22 foot or something. That was at Haywood. I don't think anyone's ever done that since.
What pre is that?
Basically the biggest running jump you can physically do at Haywood Gallery over the drops.
Over the drops?
Like,
has anyone done that recently?
What, the stride? Yeah, because people used to stride that stuff regularly.
Yeah.
Like, there's
it's
weird...
horrible though, isn't it?
There's weird things in the London community where like people used to, like the Kong Pre at IMX2 used to be a regular occurrence, and now you don't see it happen that often. Lots of doubles, because the double is kind of easier to get your body all the way over.
It's actually less scary doing the double than the Kong Pre.
Yeah, and like strides at Haywood and all the like sketchy height stuff I think used to be a lot more common.
Yeah.
Not saying that we need sketchy height stuff.
No.
But what was I saying? Yeah, so like it used to be like, oh, my running pre is massive and my flip prees are small and precise. And now people like Dom are pushing that to a ridiculous level. And I think it will be years before people catch up. Like somebody will eventually Kong front IMAX, but it could be a while.
I just want to know who would be the next Dom in terms of always doing, because someone will do something that Dom's done that's fucked. I've seen it happen. I can't really tell you exactly what, but you know what I mean? Like someone will do something that Dom's done, but then you just see that of them and then they just kind of train a bit.
Yeah,
Whereas Dom's so consistent. One day someone else will come along who is just like that and they're consistently doing big stuff. And I think people will probably go, oh, that's like another Dom character.
He's now transcended into that
position
of being like, he's done enough consistently that it's...
Dom is a type of person and his type of person is Dom. Like anyone else who follows him will be a Dom type of person.
I would love to get him back on the podcast because we had him on a year or two, well, it must be like 2 years ago. But I think things are going to be a bit hectic for a few weeks, months. But while you're in the UK, Dom, we should, if you do listen to this, we should try at least. I mean, to be honest, even if I'm not here and he came down and you did it and I was breastfeeding,
can get you on the Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. It's possible.
Talk about his hit list. I'm sure he has a big.
This is the thing. I feel like he must just look at England and go, "Cool, what hasn't been done?" And like, what's that thing that people just take the piss about? Cool, I'll do that.
Yeah, he speaks about a fucking awful Kong front in Bristol that I think is one of the things one of the things that I don't actually know whether he would do that because
don't
it's just
say that because now he's going to do it.
Well, I hope he just doesn't.
Now just
if he listens to this, then he'll probably be like, I'm going to go do it. But
yeah. He'll be like, naysayer.
You know what one it is?
Yeah, I know exactly which one it is.
I don't think he can't do it. It's just it's so fucking awful.
There's stuff like that where you're just like, yeah. Was there anything else to talk about? I don't know. I don't want this to be overly long.
No, neither do I.
I got stuff to do.
So what's the news?
What's the news? Oh, that guy's trying to fucking double side flip manpower. Or he tried. He did it 9 times the single.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
Someone can do that. I've seen people do some double side gaps, but like we were saying,
that is at the double.
Any short
double side gap of double side gaps. Isn't it?
Any short landing on that is just going to be so fucking.
That was the scary thing. Is like on his preps, he was not falling short, but you could imagine if he just went, oh, I just need to get a bit more rotation and took the gas off.
Also, though, imagine just under rotating it. It's quite a high thing to double side to land on your. Imagine if you just land on your side. And it's not really soft.
No,
I know it's gravel, but it's
you
not
can
really
you can make
soft.
it gravelly, but it's still going to be fucking still not the wind out. Yeah.
Has anyone bailed badly on that yet? Not dropping, but has anyone landed and broke their leg or done?
I remember OG back in the day, like David Bell times. Not hearing a story but as if I was back then, but I remember hearing that back then, like someone jumped it and broke their leg, which I can kind of believe because obviously, like sketchy Yamakasi days, they were just flailing over anything.
Dude, where is all of what is it? District
13.
13. I didn't know it was 13 and another number. In that film, in that action sequence, there's some other roof gaps that look similar to Manpower but aren't as droppy. But they still look pretty big.
I don't know where the rest of the running. They made it look like it was bang next door.
Obviously for film reasons, but there must be so many that you could revisit and they're still fucking like sick because Manpower is still sick.
Yeah. I don't think Manpower will ever be small.
No,
I know like a 12-year-old, some kid jumped it a few years ago, didn't he? But like it's never going to be.
The distance isn't far, but it's not actually really short.
No,
you know what I mean. It's pretty decent.
It's big enough of both sizes to never make it like it's piss.
Yeah, I know. Like it's so droppy as well. But there's some I just remember in that action sequence. There's some that are like they look further than Manpower, but not as droppy.
Yeah.
And there's a proper flail.
Yeah, love a flail.
And you know the bit
that was the other fucking thing Dom did. Just jumped that massive thing in barbecue.
Okay, yeah, that was
which apparently Ali did as well.
Yeah, but that was actually the sickest thing.
It was that pure like
the tree grab.
Yeah.
His hand slapped the tree.
Pure, just like physically, I can make that. It's kind of just like there's no precise element to it apart from making sure my foot fucking takes off the right bit of wall. It's just gas it and jump.
That looked like the ultimate roof gap, really.
Yeah.
So I want to go and see that in person because if it looks that bad in video, it's going to look way worse.
Yeah, because Dom is a big guy and it looks huge.
Yeah. Everything looks smaller on video.
Oh, fuck. We should talk about Jaden fucking breaking his pelvis.
Oh, yeah.
That was tragic.
For people who don't, there's going to be people who listen to this who probably don't know that, actually, I reckon.
I don't know. I mean,
because I don't know how... I know
got a lot of attention, but...
It got a lot of attention, but maybe people who are overseas who haven't really...
Jaden Clark is just OG, like, always been good. He's kind of dipped in and out over the last few years, but I mean, he's always been a phenomenal athlete.
Whenever he's with Dom, he's done some ridiculous things. Like, he can get near to Dom's level of flipperies, and he's done... People who aren't from England, they don't know where Cross Harbour is, but that spot with the stairs going down, none of them did it.
Still two of the most sendy flips I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was going to say none of them did it well, but Dom did do it and then jump out and roll.
Or backflip. There were two, weren't there? He did one where
he fronted out his back.
Just straight to his back.
I sound mean saying none of them did it well because it's stupid. It's fucking so big.
Insanely big.
So they did do it well. It's just
they made it.
They made it.
Yeah. But
so it's still sick though.
Jay did side pre. He did it so nice the first time. Then came back for the this is in Brighton on a thing that until the other day, I guess Dom had flipped it the other way, but it had always just been a running pre, and then
pretty decent running pre as well.
Yeah, I've never done it. I think I physically could, but I've never really trained there properly, if you know what I mean. And David Nelms fucking dived it. Dom fronted it and sided it in the same day. Jay side pre'd it once and then literally just took the worst
taco, as George would say.
The worst possible outcome. And I don't know if you watched his story last night. He's literally
in hospital,
chipped a chunk off the side of his pelvis there, like his kind of hip. And they said it's 4 to 6 months before he currently can't walk, he can't move his leg. And I think they said it's 4 to 6 months before they think he'll be jumping again. So it sounds like, because he said apparently it's quite a bad area to have bits of bone floating around, because I assume there's arteries and stuff that they need to be careful about. But he then followed up his story with a fucking, I love Jay's story sometimes. He's in hospital telling this thing about his hip, and then the next one is him trying to eat a sandwich and there's a seagull trying to get in through the window. And he's like, this fucking cheeky cunt.
I feel so sorry because that's so horrible.
I felt really bad because I'd seen the clip previously because Mark sent it to us, and then I watched it on his post, and I was actually, because I'd already seen it, I was really taken aback by the fact that in Jay's version, you can hear Dom, and for a second he goes, "You all right?" in the most Australian accent I've ever heard Dom say. Did you hear it? It's really weird. So I just commented ha 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 ha, you made Dom go full Aussie. And then a few hours later was looking at the comments and realized everyone else was like, mate, I'm so sorry this has happened to you. And I'm like, ha ha ha. Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm a scumbag.
To be honest, I didn't know how bad it was until I heard that he'd broken his...
Yeah.
Because I know it was a heavy bail, but I guess I haven't seen anyone do that type of bail to that magnitude, but I've seen that bail a lot.
Oh, wait.
No, that was...
It's this one. It's this one.
Stick. Oh, you right?
You're right.
Are you all right? Yeah.
Normally, Dom
usually has a bit of an English accent.
Yeah.
He spends so much time here. Yeah, loads of people are bailed like that. And I've seen some that look not distance-wise
Dom's had
worse,
ones where he looks like he's done the same thing.
Yeah.
But just somehow gone over.
And Abdullah has one where, I mean, it is a standing side pre, but it's high up in a gym. And it looks more quick and rapid to like a wooden...
Yeah.
Taco is a reoccurring thing. But that was this.
Oh.
That was the
air freshener just sound like a fucking robot attack. Anyway.
Get well soon, Jay.
Yes, get well soon. Let's wrap this thing up and do some work, and then I'll go home again. Well,
good idea.
I hope you've enjoyed this short one. Do you get this where you drink a Huel and then your throat is a bit like...
Yeah, because gloopy.
Yeah, I get all gloopy, and after I immediately am like, I hope I don't sound like I've got COVID. Sorry, I was just readjusting myself in my chair. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you have some value. Please don't all go and pester like one singular athlete, i.e. Dom. I know we've just spent half an hour sucking his dick, but...
Ed Scott, there you go.
This is what I mean. There's so many creative outlets and talents and ways to provide value and also get value for yourself. Value.
Marcio.
And when I say value, what I mean is followers and money. The two biggest forms of currency in this world. And TikTok likes or whatever you get on TikTok.
Yeah, that's really rewarding.
Tox. I want some fucking tox.
TikTok, go for TikTok sensation. But listen, Dom, Ed, Marcio, there you go. That's
hound them. Follow them around with cameras like the fucking paparazzi, especially flash photography. You know, big flip prees, flash them in the face.
Front on.
Yeah. Like that. Sick. Love you. Bye. Prod me.